June 14, 1947, 80 miles northwest of Roswell, New Mexico, a sheep rancher named Mac Brazel comes across something highly unusual.
He was tending to some of the sheep, and he noticed that they wouldn't cross a particular field.
So he sets out and explores and finds this debris field in the middle of nowhere. It looks like something was moving at a high speed and crash landed and just spread out there for 200 yards.
Given the remote nature of this site, the logical conclusion must be that this thing could only have come from the sky.
He wants to bring it in and turn it over to some authorities, out of concern that it might be some form of aviation accident.
But Brazel's trip to Roswell is delayed, and by the time he reaches the sheriff's office with the crash debris, 2 other Roswell residents have also witnessed something they can't explain.
On July 2nd, Dan Wilmot is sitting on his porch with his wife, Mary Grace, and suddenly they see this strange object in the sky. It's oval-shaped, it's very brightly illuminated, as if it's got its own internal light source, and there's virtually no sound.
The object was about 10 to 20 feet in diameter. He thinks it was moving around 400 to 500 miles per hour. And they observe it for about a minute, and then it goes away.
After Brazel delivers the material, the concerned sheriff immediately calls the nearby Army airfield.
The Roswell crash took place against the backdrop of the modern flying saucer phenomenon. This all started on June 24th, 1947, with Kenneth Arnold, a pilot flying a light aircraft.
He claims that he has seen 9 disc-shaped aircraft flying in formation near Mount Rainier, flying at 1,200 miles an hour, which is 3 times as fast as the fastest aircraft. And the media really takes this up.
Newspapers quickly dubbed the objects flying discs or flying saucers.
After his report becomes publicized, it inspires other people to report that they have also seen bizarre phenomena in the skies, and we are in the midst of flying saucer fever.
In that period between June and July 1947, there are hundreds of people who report seeing flying saucers in the sky.
Banner headlines day after day through every news source around the country. What are these flying saucers? Where are they from? But what Brazel discovered is an altogether different story. It's nothing fleeting in the nighttime sky. It's something recovered. It's something that had crashed.
It escalates the whole situation to a completely different level. The Army takes this extremely seriously, and they actually send one of their brightest and best, the base intelligence officer, Jesse Marcel, out to investigate. They know that whatever it is, it's not a US military aircraft crash. So now the situation is this: if it's not the US military, who or what is it?
On July 8th, 1947, the Roswell Army Airfield puts out a press release saying that they have found pieces of a flying saucer.
We've had 2 weeks of flying saucer fever, and now the US military have one of these things. The press release goes out, and it's near hysteria.
The public takes it a lot more seriously than could have possibly been expected.
Later that day, Major Marcel flies the debris to Texas for further examination.
They arrive in Fort Worth. General Roger Ramey, head of the 8th Air Force at Carswell Army Airfield, wants to have a press conference.
Then something really weird happens. Within 24 hours of telling the world that the US military has recovered a flying saucer, they flip the narrative.
General Ramey announces to the press It was all a mistake. It was all a overreaction. It's nothing more than a very standard weather balloon with a radar reflector kite.
To help alleviate concerns from the public, they release a photo with Major Marcel posing with what is said to be debris from this weather balloon.
The cover story was totally believed. Roswell just disappears from the narrative for 30 years.
All is quiet until 1978, when Major Jesse Marcel opens the floodgates on Roswell witness statements.
Marcel is 71 years old. He's retired from the military, but after 30 years, he finally decides that it's time to go public with this secret that he's been hanging on to for all this time.
Jesse Marcel does an interview with astronomer Stanton Friedman, during which he confesses that he was told to stick to the story that this is a weather balloon and nothing else.
Marcel claims those were not actually all of the materials that he had recovered from the site near Roswell. There's much more debris that's not in the photos. And he describes the material that he found as being not of this earth.
There are silken strands like microfilament fishing line. There were I-beam structures of a pinkish purplish hue with strange symbols that run the length of each piece. And then Marcel describes the most amazing material of all. Paper-thin, metal-like material, practically weightless in your hands. This material you can crush, you can fold, you can crease. And each and every time it assumes its original shape and size.
Today, we call this type of alloy a shape memory alloy. Shape memory alloys weren't widely manufactured until the 1960s, though, and the crash was in 1947.
It's easy to see why people would believe Marcel. He's a credible source, he's a former intelligence officer, and he is now saying that what the government said is not true. And this really is the beginning of this idea that there really might be a massive government cover-up. One of the witnesses who comes forward all these 40 years later has some details and evidence of a second crash site near Roswell.
A crew chief with the Roswell Fire Department named Dan Dwyer comes forward, and he wants to talk about the crash that he'd heard about on the plains of San Augustine. He says that he and another fireman go to the site, but when they get there, they find that there's a government recovery effort taking place. Well, if this is just a regular crash, why is the government involved?
Dwyer claims to have witnessed essentially the collection of alien bodies. He says there were 2 of them on stretchers inside mortuary bags, and a third one that appeared to be severely injured.
Dwyer is not the only person who reports bodies at this crash site. An Air Force sergeant named Melvin Brown claims that he was sent there to guard the crash site. While he's there, he claims that he sees 2 alien bodies.
Dennis, Dwyer, and Brown aren't the only ones. There are many more witnesses who are claiming they saw something. Now, whether it's debris or bodies or lights in the sky, whatever crashed in Roswell that night led to people insisting that they saw something extremely unusual.
When you take into account all of these eyewitness testimonies and people seeing these strange things, it's easy to see why this flying saucer theory might endure.
We may never know what happened, but we have credible witnesses who have seen things that are difficult to explain and make it hard for the theory of the weather balloon to really hold up.